I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative, I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I could see my dreams, I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this. I just wanna break these chains. Always destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I saw they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting. If I can see my dream, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting. If I can see my dreams, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
Wow. Guys, I got someone here tonight. And if you're not excited, then you must be a Rich Rod hater. And I was a Rich Rod hater for a number of years, but we're going to talk about that tonight. So, put a little bit of extra air in your helmet. Put a little bit of extra tape on those ankles. Because guess what? We're going to talk about Rich Rod, old times, and what's to come. And here is everybody's favorite West Virginia fan, Joey Foster.
Well, what's happening, brother?
I'm trying to. Oh, there you are. There we are.
Oh, okay.
But,
We've got up on screen. Good deal.
So,
What's going on, man?
So, not much. I'll tell you what. There's some. Even in the comments, people are,
Spot the ball, baby. Spot the ball. Listen, you and I were talking before this show started. I'll tell you, I think if you were a fan in 1988 and we were right there to win the national championship, right? And you got a taste in your mouth of what it was like, and you wanted to win that game so bad. And then in 93, you felt like he was right back there again. He was going to get that national championship, and you just had this feeling that it was coming, but then you got left out at the end. You wasn't selected to play for the national championship. Then, you come along and you get to 2007. And 2006 was great. We forget 2005, 6 were great years as well. We always talk about 2007. 2005 and 6 were fantastic years too. We were right there on the cusp of national championships those 2 years as well. And then you get to 2007, you felt like it was there. You get to the last game of the season. You just got to beat Pitt. You're 28-point favorites. What can go wrong? And boom, you lose 13-9. And not only that, now you had that in the pit of your stomach because I'm a Mountaineer fan. But then you had in the pit of your stomach, hey, Rich Rod's leaving going to Michigan. Okay. And so those are the fans that had that pit in their stomach that don't like this hire, I believe, and that are worried about this hire. And I was one of those fans. I was at one time one of those fans. But I'm going to tell you, there couldn't be a better coach or couldn't be a better fit for West Virginia than Rich Rodriguez. And to see all the love and support from the biggest fans out there of West Virginia and former players like Pat McAfee and Pat Jones and Owen Schmidt. I was watching him today, over there with Kids Earnings and with hers. They have a great show, and they had Pat McAfee on there today. Everybody supporting and come around Rich Rodriguez. Hey, look, it's time to say bygones are bygones. Welcome back, Rich Rod. Spot the ball, baby.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's, I was on the fence, and as it start happening, I made the thumbnail about a day ago, just getting ready for news to drop, because from what I had gathered, I was 99.9% sure, but I just didn't want to be that guy. So on our show on Tuesday, we pretty much thought it was a done deal, and we had a lot of folks in the chat talking about it. Some people give me heat because I just wouldn't say it, but what threw me off is they had brought in someone as of, I think, Monday or Tuesday, and spoke with interviewed another person. But when Rich Rod got off that plane today, this afternoon, he looked happy. Like, not happy like a guy that has a job, like you got your first job or you got your first car. He looked like he was over the moon happy. Like, I can't even articulate what I felt when I saw it, because it just seemed, everything seemed to fit. Everything seems right in the world.
It does. It seems like, the song, I'm Coming Home. And, it's all forgiven. You've got to let it go. Bringing him home. This is where he belongs. I think he knew it the moment he signed his contract at Michigan. I think it hit him. Yeah. And unfortunately, the road back's been rough and rocky and stuff. And I think that's why he didn't thrive at Michigan. I think he had West Virginia on his mind. I think in Arizona, he was thinking, I've got to get better if I ever want to get back to Morgantown. And he started getting better. Then has a little bit of controversy. But look what he's doing for Jacksonville State, because he knew that could be a starting point to jumpstart him, to get him back into Power 4 coaching. And what better place to land than Morgantown, West Virginia, when even 2 years ago, when he took the job at Jacksonville State, they were talking about firing Neil Brown. So this might have been a game plan of Rich Rod's all along. And I feel like he's coming back, and he might have saved some of his best years for this. And let's see what happens. Let's give him a chance, because we have nowhere to go right now. We're already, mediocre in the conference. We're not going to get much worse than that, probably. So we have nowhere to go but up, if you ask me. We can't go from here. So we've got too much depth. So,
well, let's go to the chat, and then I want to talk about what the status of the program is now. And is he going to, are we as West Virginia fans going to see some bigger names maybe in the portal come across, or are we going to keep the players we have? We'll talk about that. Let's go to chat here. UC Fez, it's hard to believe how many people are hating on this hire. I get it. He didn't leave on the best terms, but try to give him a chance to reconcile this mistake. That's well said. And he also says, I think him and Scott Frost can turn the Big 12 East into a serious power. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. It was one of those situations, and I want to talk to this. The Big East was very entertaining, very underrated, and at the time, as a fan, I didn't appreciate it for what it was. Big East was definitely something, and I think the Big 12, especially with last year, Arizona State, and I did look it up. The Magic 8 Ball picked Arizona State to have the best record in the Big 12. So kudos to the Magic 8 Ball. If you guys remember back to, when we were doing that in May, June, and July. But let's go back to some of these content. Yeah. So, Joey, you were mentioned on Sikkim 365 the other day. Did you know that?
Yeah. David and I are good friends. We talk quite often. Yeah, David and I spoke just before he went on the air, and I was telling him about what was going on and stuff.
Yeah. So FSU 45, forgive, forget, spot the ball. Well said. So, Joey, what I want to talk about is what kind of impact do you think Rich Rod has immediately? I mean, immediately, are they a better team? Are they?
All right, so there's a big impact. There's a big impact here, but I think the impact's stretching further than you might imagine. The big impact here is not just at West Virginia. This is a big hire for the Big 12 because, these other coaches around the Big 12, they stood up and took notice when West Virginia had to hire, and all of a sudden Jimbo Fisher's name was in the hat and Rich Rodriguez's name in the hat. And then you had Kovnecki from Penn State in the hat. And then right there at the end, Hartline from Ohio State. How big of a hire would that have been? Right there in the hat. So this was a big hire. We had so many coaches interested in this job, interviewing for this job. This is a big-time job in the Big 12. And so this meant a lot. And hiring a coach like Rich Rodriguez and bringing him back, that made every coach in this conference stand up and take notice. And it also made every administrator and every university stand up and take notice and say, okay, what do we got to do to get better? We've struggled against this team in the past. Now they've got Rich Rodriguez. Now what do we got to do better? So I think there's that to it too. I think this is a big hire all the way around. Now for the fan base, my goodness, this is exciting. I'm expecting year one to not be as great as we're expecting, but we do have some good talent. Look, one thing we can say about Neil Brown, he didn't leave an empty cupboard. There's players there. Oh. And one thing we can say about this coaching staff, they brought in a hell of a recruiting class to not have a head coach. And the thing about it is Rich Rod, I'm sure one of his first phone calls is because you can imagine this in a Rich Rod offense. One of his first phone calls had to be to Jaheim White and just saying, hey, I need you there in my offense. Could you imagine Jaheim White being like a Steve Slayton type offense, right? Imagine if they could get C.J. Donaldson to stay one more year and be in there blocking for him or something. Think about all this. This is a great hire because this is the perfect kind of offense. Rich Rod runs the perfect kind of offense for kind of the players we have in form right now. A lot of players, we've got a Rodney Gallagher out there on the edge that's been running edge sweeps, a good quick guy, right? That's a great asset in a Rich Rod offense, if everybody remembers that. So we've got pieces in place that Rich Rod is not coming into a completed program and then he's going to have trouble with. He's going to be able to just start business up as usual. This is a great culture at West Virginia right now. Neil Brown didn't leave this place, this organization bad. So, he's walking into a gold mine. He's got another opportunity and he's got a chance and he can turn this into a gold mine right now.
I wonder what his reaction was when he walked into that locker room and saw the upgrades in the facilities, and he had to I hate to say stop your heart a little bit, but he's had to be taken back a bit because going back to this was a generation ago. When he left, my son who's getting ready to graduate was just born, so. This is a generation. So with these young men that are currently on the staff, they were infants. They're currently playing ball at West Virginia. Now, what will keep them there is the culture is good. You have guys like Pat McAfee coming into Morgantown tomorrow to announce. That builds a lot of credibility because he is basically the face of sports.
Right. You bring Pat McAfee in there, and one of his guests, whether he's by Zoom call or whatever, it's probably going to be Nick Saban to give his thoughts on this hire. So there's going to be all eyes glued on this and stuff on the Pat McAfee show. Would I love to be there? Yes. And you know what? Nick Saban could actually be there himself. I mean, he did say he was going to help West Virginia as much as possible. So this is a huge hire.
No, I missed Nick. I missed the Trotter post. Can you tell me what he said? I'm interested to know. Do you know, Joey? I might have to look it up.
I do not know because honestly, I don't have my phone with me, and also so I'm on my computer and can't get anything.
Well, here's the thing.
Let's
talk about this. Is probably not going to be a very very fun conversation to have, but there might be some folks on the team. I don't think Rich Rod's going to pull a prime, a Coach Sanders, but there's going to be a few spots available on the Mountaineer squad. I think he might bring maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 of his Jack State guys in.
So we're bringing in that sack leader. That's the thing. Post just for that. I sent that to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got it. But yeah, that's I can't remember the guy's name. But he's like the leading sack. What was he was leading in the MAC conference for sacks or something?
Yeah, for sacks for that. He's I think an edge rusher. But guys, this is going to be. I mean, hell, Wikipedia updated Rich Rod as of yesterday afternoon. So something's up. But Wikipedia is not super duper reliable, but reliable enough. Kelly is telling me it's Chris Hardy is the kid's name. So thanks,
Okay.
Kelly.
Chris Hardy. Thanks, Kelly. And Kelly's the one that broke that news to me just before I went on the air here, and he sent that to me, and I sent it to you real quick. So hats off to Kelly there. Thank you for sending it to me.
So
these articles are coming out so fast right now, you can't keep up with them.
No,
I mean, there's a lot of stories coming out.
So much news. And here's the thing, guys. Rich Rod and Scott Frost are going to bring excitement back to the Big 12. And I'm also glad that Gundy was retained. He had a bad season, but he's a quality coach. I don't know. I don't think it's the biggest thing with Rich Rod now is you're always worried about him looking for the next best job.
Yeah.
Now he's at the twilight of his career. He's not an old man. He still has probably another 10, 12 years. For crying out loud, they just hired Bill Belichick to be North Carolina's coach.
Some coaches are just made for a certain university. Look at the, Bill Snyder at Kansas State. It's just one of them coaches. He left, and then they just went downhill, and he had to come back and revive him again. It's one of them things. Some coaches are just built for a university. Yeah. Scott Frost, in my opinion, is built for UCF, where he has success. And he goes to Nebraska and he falls apart. But look, Nebraska's like a West Virginia University. That's the biggest show in town. It's tough to coach at places like that. There's a different atmosphere. And Rich Rod understands that. Neil Brown understood it, but I don't know that Neil Brown understood the toughness and how you fight during a game. I don't know that he got that part of West Virginia. And I'm not saying the players didn't understand it because they did. But Coach Brown, for some reason, didn't never grasp how to win in Morgantown, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. He never figured out how to win a game at West Virginia. I think Neil Brown's a great coach. Rich Rod figured it out quickly,
Yeah, the fake punt against Georgia, just having.
Dana Holgorsen never figured it out, right? Dana, we had some great seasons under Dana. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part, he was an average coach in Morgantown. I think Dana's a good offensive coordinator. I don't think he's a head coach, So, but Scott Frost, I think, was out of his element there at Nebraska. So, this is a great hire for UCF. I think he'll be right at home. Just fit right in, and they'll be right back to winning.
So before the show ends here in about, we're a quarter of the way through the show, but before it ends, I'm going to ask everyone in the chat and you, Joey, Rich Rod's first season at West Virginia went 3-8. What record would he have to have in order to get a B, a passing grade? So, think about it a little bit. We'll talk about it here in about 20 minutes, but that's something that I keep asking myself as a fan, coming off of a mediocre 500 season. If they win the bowl game, it'll just be a little sprinkle on the cupcake. But I'll tell you, I have some hefty expectations of the old ball coach, and I'm sure the donors and the fans do too, especially the ones that are on the fence.
My thought about that bowl game is this. I know a lot of people talk about players sitting out, and not playing in the bowl game. I think especially the players that are going to be returning back next year, they got something they want to show Coach Rich Rodriguez. And I think they'll get in there and play ball. And so I am not the least bit worried about this team showing up for the bowl game. For some reason, I just feel like they're going to be there to play, to show Rich Rodriguez, hey, remember my name for next spring. You know, whenever we start practicing and stuff, watch how I play and remember that. You know, so I'm hoping for something like that.
Now, okay, BB, you got. I was going to wait, but we'll just pull the Band-Aid off. Let's do it. Okay. 7-5 for the first season. I would not have huge heartburn. I would give that a D. A C grade would have to be 8-4. 9-3 would be like a B plus, and anything a 10-win season would be an A, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Joey.
Okay, so I think, you know, first year coming back to your program, to your alma mater, you understand the culture already, so you're okay there. But it's the right culture in place that you left with, right? You want to have a culture that you can get around with. So he might have to tweak it here and there. So I worry about that. There'll be tweaks here and there. There'll be players that get pissed. There'll be players that get upset because he's going to run the program different. You know, there's going to be different curfews. There's going to be different things you can and can't do. So there's going to be some turmoil there year one. But I'm not saying it's going to be fighting amongst players or anything like that. But might lose a couple players, might keep a few players that really don't want to be there, and he'll wean those out. He'll wean all those out, and that when he weeds them out, they'll be done. They won't play anymore. So, you know, I think that these players that are going to show what they can play in this bowl game, though, that's going to show Rich Rod a lot, and I'm looking forward. And I think year one, for me, an A score for me would be 9 wins or more.
Yeah.
And to me, a 8-win season would still be a B. I think a 7-win season is a C, but still a passing grade for me. So. Okay.
So we're one off. I mean, my passing grade would be 8 wins. Yours is 7. But, you know, here's the thing, and you hit the nail on the head, Joey, and you got to it before I did, because we've been doing this so long together. It's like we read each other's thoughts. Rich Rod he doesn't hide his feelings. You know, I think Neil Brown was a little bit more reserved. Rich Rod is going to, you know, let his emotions fly and chew some ass on occasion. So
right.
If you have a little bit of a thick skin, but coach, I think players like to be coached and coached hard. And I think it's the best for the program. I think it's the best for, you know, getting just, if you want to have that emotion, you want to have that passion. And I'm not saying Neil Brown didn't have it, but I like to see it. I like to see the anger on the sideline. I like to see that scowl. That one picture, Rich Rod, where he's looking like out of the side of his eyes, like he's going to rip some ass. That is what I want to see in on Saturdays, on game days.
My comment to Mountaineer athletes here, he said Rich needs to come in and win at least 8 games minimum first year. Winning 8 games instantly, I think it's insanely hard for Brown to do. Okay, it was insanely hard for Brown to do. I agree. Okay, I think Rich Rod needs to do a couple of things. Number one, I think his first goal, whether we win 8 games or not, is to get us back in the top 25. Number one, we need to be back in the top. We've not been in the top 25 for 6 damn years. So that should be goal number one. Hit that top 25. Our goal, his goal number 2, without a doubt to me, should be win a Big 12 championship. Period. I'd not play for one, win one. I think for a top 25 team, there's no doubt we can at least play for them. So I think the goals don't necessarily go with wins. I don't think he's going to come in there and say, I need to win 8 games, or I don't think we should look at it as we need to win 8 games. No, we need to be in the top 25. Because if we can get back in the top 25, we know we've got a shot to play for the Big 12 championship, right? I mean, that's just basic knowledge. So that's where we need to be. We don't need to be looking at wins, losses. We need to be looking at top 25. Get there, we'll be okay. That's
I agree 100%. Be ranked, but in order to be ranked, you got to beat a ranked team. And that's something that Neil Brown failed to do. Dana beat a few ranked teams, but, the days of upsetting like a number 3, Virginia Tech, two years in a row they beat a top 5 Virginia Tech team. UCF was ranked in the top 10,
being top 5 Miami teams and stuff. It's
teams that
all that stuff has went to the wayside. Beating Clemson like we did in the Orange Bowl in 2012, even under Dana Holgorsen. All that stuff's gone for the last 6 years. For the last 6 years, the only thing we've got to hang our hat on is that we've been to 4 bowl games, but none of them has been big bowls. The Blue Bonnet Bowl is probably the biggest bowl we've been to. So come on, guys, let's think about this. We got to get back to in the top 25. That should be our goal. I don't care about wins. Look, there's teams that go 8-4, but they're in the top 25. There's teams that go 9-3 and they're in the top 25. If West Virginia was 8-4 or 9-3 right now, we still wouldn't be in the top 25.
A little extra. I don't want Cole in my stocking. You know what I want in my stocking? I want Coach Trickett. Give me a little Coach Trickett to go with Rich Rod, and I will have a Merry Christmas. I'll tell you. I love me some Trickett, and Tony Gibson's down in Marshall. So, Gibby, good for you. Good to see that you landed in a good spot as a head coach. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him, happy for Marshall. I would much rather have him in Morgantown as a defensive coordinator with Rich Rodriguez, but I'm happy for him. That's really great.
So now, if you are really, really just sour about this, and I've seen fans put posts that I hear that folks are going to not renew their season tickets. I disagree. If anything, I think it's going to put more butts in the seats. I'm going to double the amount of tickets I buy, just because I know people are going to want to come and watch this. So, the days of tickets selling, that last game, tickets were going for, you could get a McDonald's value meal. The value meal McDonald's cost more than what a ticket for the Mountaineer game was. And that's a sad state of affairs. Where back when I had season tickets years ago when Rich Rod was there, up until Dana, and then I got rid of them. I remember selling tickets for just Rutgers games for, $125 a ticket, and that was 20 years ago. So.
Kelly, don't you dare say that. That ain't going to happen.
What did Kelly say?
That will not happen. I heard that Les Miles might come to the WWE with Rich Rod. No. Keep that away. That ain't happening. I guarantee you that ain't happening. Are you trolling, Kelly?
Ed O'Brien or something crazy, man, he's entertaining. But.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I tell you that though, talking about coaching staff and people, he needs to find a spot for Chad Scott though. Chad Scott's one of the best coaches we have. I mean, he's amazing. Look, he's held this team together up there, and he's like a Bill Stewart, right? Everybody likes him. He's great. And maybe not going to be head coaching material right now. Like Bill Stewart didn't seem like he was head coach material at the moment, although he's winning as coach in West Virginia history, percentage-wise. Chad Scott is much like a Bill Stewart. You need to find a place for him on this team and retain him somewhere because Chad Scott's a great guy. I mean, these players love him.
Well, I was saving this for the back end, and we're about 30 minutes, so I will just talk. We'll talk about that. Here's the wish list. So it's Christmas time. You got naughty list. You got the nice list. If West Virginia is on the nice list, let's go through the list of possible coaches. I'm going to start with the GOAT, Pat White. What are your thoughts?
Quarterbacks coach. Yeah, I mean, he was with some NFL teams and with a few college teams. Mm-hmm. He's not been with anybody in a while, though. So what went wrong there? I don't know. I'm not. So
my notes have him in Alcorn State, South Florida, Alabama State, and then Chargers. I think he'll help really recruiting, because
I think it would too. I don't know what happened at the Chargers. I don't watch NFL football. Don't really keep up with it, so I don't know how well he did as quarterback coach. I don't even know who the quarterback was at the Chargers when he was quarterback's coach. So that's something that I can't comment on it all about Pat
Yeah,
White.
on the wish list. Yeah. Well, we'll hit the chat real quick and then get back to the list. Okay. So let's see here. I agree with everybody. West Virginia beats a ranked team, can be ranked, and can play better in away games. Then we have a chance to be a very good team. Well said, FSU 45. So
yeah, you got to crawl. You got to crawl first, right? I mean, and I think our first step just needs to be in getting in the top 25. Just think that needs to be the first step. The first thing you post on the wall is, hey, I don't care if the preseason rankings say, I don't care what the Big 12 rankings say. I don't care if we're number 1 in the Big 12. I don't care. I want to be I want to be a top 25 team, not necessarily preseason rank, but I want to hit the top 25 at some point this next year. And prove to the world that we are back. And when we hit the top 25, we came close at times this year to hitting the top 25. We became a top 30, but we need that top 25 to let people know that we're coming back, and to give recruiting a boost, to give everything a boost, to get a little bit more excitement around the program, not just for us as fans, but as their fans around the world. Because we've got a huge audience at Western University. You got to realize Pat McAfee, like we were talking about, he's huge. He's the biggest sportscaster there is. There's nothing bigger than Pat McAfee. He's always talking West Virginia football. And there's a lot of people that follow West Virginia football around the world. Now, we haven't been winning, so they've not been following. But they'll all come back. All we got to do is win.
Yep, that's true. And, what better way to win and bring back coaches that he's coached with and been successful. And the next guy on the list is he's with them now. Was with them until a week ago. Jacksonville State. I think he was the offensive coordinator. Yeah, it was Rod Smith. So Rod Smith goes back to Glenville State days from 93 to 96. And then I think there was 1 year he was quarterback coach for Pat White. So, that was a hell of a year. So if he comes on as offensive coordinator, that would be fantastic.
Right. That would be a good hire. He's been all over the place with Rich Rod. So,
yeah, so another name here would be, Tyler Allen. So he's on Neil Brown. He was on, he's a guy that was on Brown's staff that worked for Rich Rod. So he left in 2020, and then he became the quarterback coach at Jackson State 2 years ago. Allen is, I guess he's thought in the coaching industry to be a real stud. So, he might be.
When I start looking at this is neat now. When I start looking at position things, I start looking at people that are interested in the job, that have some experience and know what they're talking about. Like, could you imagine if Batman Jones came back to coach our defensive backs, or cornerbacks? So, or imagine Clint Trickett being our offensive coordinator. Or, Clint Trickett's a great name out there, right? Why not Clint Trickett be our offensive coordinator? Or something. So that's what I'm looking at. I look at some former alumni coming back and saying, hey, I'd like to have a spot on this thing. And they've got experience. Anthony Beck, Anthony Beck trying to throw his hat in the ring here for what I understand for this West Virginia coaching job. Well, why not? If he wants to come into college coaching, what better place than have a coaching position on this coaching staff? Now, can they top his salary? That's the problem. He makes pretty good salary in whatever it's called now, the UFO, XFO, whatever they call it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But you got Rick Trickett, and you got Travis Trickett, we got Clint. We could have the trifecta, have all three of them here. Make it a family affair.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to the chat real quick, and then we'll finish out our list here. Great day to be Mountaineer, wherever you may be. It's been exciting for West Virginia football since Rich Rod for the first time. Let's go WVU, baby. And overworked, underpaid with the coal miner picture. That's a fantastic picture. Let's go. Love it. So Tim says, please like and subscribe and share comments. Thank you so very much. Please like and subscribe, share. That's so true. So, guys, you had mentioned him, and Chad Scott is at the helm for this bowl game. And what better way to interview to be maybe the assistant head coach, or what do they call it? Associate head coach. I wouldn't be shocked if Rich Rod doesn't at least, have a conversation with him and, get his thoughts. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have a conversation before the bowl game.
Chad Scott just seems to me like it's a Mike Joseph thing. It's just you've got to find a place for Chad Scott. And Mike Joseph ain't going nowhere, obviously. I mean, he's our strength coach. He's going to stay our strength coach, and he's not going anywhere. My goodness, he's a staple. But Chad Scott could be a staple, just like Tony Gibson was a staple too. And unfortunately, that coaching change got that changed. So I like for some of these staples to stay there. And Chad Scott has just adapted so well to Morgantown. He's such a good guy. Just the players love him, So I feel like you've got to find a place for him. I don't know where to be, because
there's so many names, and some of them I don't know, guys. Like, I just wrote them down, but I don't have enough information. Like Tony Dews, New York Jets running back coach. I really don't know what his ties are to Rich Rod. I know he coached at Pitt, but don't know much about him. Wasn't he the running backs coach for Dana? I don't know. That's Tony Dews. Ryan Garrett is a Jacksonville State wide receivers coach. He's been, with Rich Rod off and on for a few years. And here's one that is just interesting. Garin Justice, he's SMU's associate head coach. He's the offensive line coach. This would be a great fit for the Mountaineers. SMU is playing some fantastic football, and he would be a great associate head coach if we don't get Scott, right? If Chad Scott decides to move on. Of course, I had mentioned Rick Trickett. I mean, that guy, just his veins in his neck should have their own coaching position, because I mean, he is such a rugged dude. I just love watching him lose his shit. Let's go to the chat here.
Well, one thing that's going to dictate all this is WVU athletics, and that is how much of a budget did they give Rich Rod to go out and get some people. All right, so that worries me. That scares me more than anything in this world. We can sit there and be all happy if we want to for Rich Rod, but if you only give Rich Rod $3 million, $3.5 million or something like that to go out here and hire a coaching staff, forget it. We're just not going to be able to hire some of these names that are coming out. It's just not going to happen. Some of these names that are out there available right now, you're not going to grab some of these people. So, you've got to give him a coaching pool. I just feel like you've got to give him some kind of some money to hire some coaches, because everybody else does it. That's the key to their success, is how much money they put out there for their assistant coaches.
Yeah, to close out my list, I got a couple zingers here. I'll finish with probably everybody's favorite, but Jamil Adid, he's the Bills cornerback coach. Brandon Napoleon, which is our friend's son, Eugene's son. He's the Jacksonville State safeties coach. Pat Kirkland. And then to finish it out, this is just make it just makes you want to smile. Blaine Stewart. He's a good recruiter. I'd love to see just that little bow with the story, kind of like just tie it up with Blaine Stewart coming back to Morgantown, and he's a hell of a talent when it comes to recruiting. So, thoughts. What do you guys think about Blaine? See in the chat.
I'm really looking forward to this season, not just this season, the spring game, and it's going to be interesting too. Like if I can land an interview with Rich Rodriguez, I'm sure I will, just like I did with Neil Brown and also Bryn Baker. Get them both back on here, so we can find out what Bryn Baker's coaching search was like, and then try to get a glimpse of the vision that Rich Rodriguez has. And I know that right now it's going to be tough to get either one of them. That's going to be really hard for a small YouTube channel to grab them. But I promise you, we will do everything we can to get them on here for you. And hey, some interesting names that we've come up with. How about this one? Stedman Bailey. Stedman Bailey's been wanting to be in there for a long time. How about Stedman Bailey coming in and being a wide receivers coach? So
what's great is the schedule for next year. Now, I don't have the Big 12 schedule, but I know that the Mountaineers start off on the 30th of August, and it's a Saturday game against Robert Morris. And then they follow up the next week with Ohio. And then, of course, Pitt comes to Morgantown. I love that there's two games there before the Pitt game where Rich Rod gets to kind of figure out exactly, what he has. And he's going to know what he has before the start. But we'll know as fans, we'll know what's up. We'll know what he has cooking, what's in that pot. And boy, just imagine that nice, warm August 30th, Labor Day weekend game where you're getting ready to watch Rich Rod run out in front of the Mountaineers. Man, my head's about ready to explode. I can't believe it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And, let's hope we're not overhyping this. Rich Rod is quite a few years removed, and it is year one, guys. So let's not get our hopes up and then at the end of year one run him out of town or something. So let's remember this is year one that we're going to be coming up on. We've got a whole spring to get through. We've got to hold on to the players. We've got to get some recruits in. We've got to get some players out of the portal. There's a lot of work to do right now. And then we've got to put a spring game together because that spring game will be coming up before you know it.
Yeah.
And so, you've got a lot to do between now and the spring game. And that spring game kind of kicks off your season. Everything starts getting rounded up. You take a little break and you come back and you're just like you're in fall practice and it's ready to go. And you're suiting it up again. So it goes back quick. So year one can come on in a hurry. So let's not look too much into this. That's why I said, listen, a passing grade to me is 7 wins. I'm fine with 7 wins this year. Well, 8 wins, I'm fine with giving him a B or even an A at 8 wins, but I'll give him a B, and 9 wins is definitely an A. But I'm not going to expect too much year one.
Well,
I remember his first year one.
Because here's the thing. I am over the moon that the recruiting class and the retention has been what it has been. Okay. So right there, I think it's sure footing. And he's going to be able to fill the gaps, what gaps there are in the NIL transfer portal with some studs. He's going to bring some fantastic players from Jack State with him. I know he will because look, I'm just look at the past 2 years and successful coaches that have had great years year one. And I'm thinking about one in general, you know who I'm talking about. Mr. Signetti, Coach Signetti over there in Indiana.
Yeah, Kurt Signetti, yeah.
He almost brought his entire team from James Madison. So, not that, the Jack State players, he's going to bring the whole team to Morgantown, but he's going to offer a few of those fellows a spot, or at least give them an opportunity.
Absolutely. They've got some great players. I mean, my goodness, they went after them one to mine.
So with that, you have that sprinkled in with, he has to have some purse strings. He wouldn't come on board unless it was attractive and they're like, hey, listen, this is the budget you're going to have. This is what the NIL trust looks like. When I was looking at the NIL trust, like your Alabamas and your Clemsons, they're anywhere from 12 to 20 million per year. That is a little bit less than what I thought. I thought they were 40 or 50. If West Virginia has 5 or 6 million in that trust, I don't know what's in there, but I'm sure Rich Rod is bringing some a little bit. The donors are going to be opening up their purses, their wallets a little bit wider because they know the old ball coach is rolling into town.
We do have some wealthy donors, right? We have the Arizona Diamondbacks guy, Kendrick there, and he's a billionaire. We have Tim Justice, who's a billionaire, although, probably a lot of his support goes to Marshall. But, we have a lot of financial backers there that are trying to make this program great. And you got Pat McAfee, who donated $1 million to it just a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago. So now here you've got Pat McAfee coming back tomorrow. Will he do something like that again? I mean, will he come in there and say, I'm going to donate another $1 million to the NIL? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. I really wouldn't. You've got a lot of great supporters out there. So there's a lot of money there for him to play with. And the problem is you've got to be able to save some. You can't spend it all in 1 year because these people aren't going to keep giving like that. This is the excitement level, and they're going to give right now. So but you've got to be smart with that money. You can't throw it all on 1 or 2 seasons. It's got to be spaced out, and you've got to have an expectation of what you're going to be able to take in, each and every year for that NIL. Because so some of these things need to be very long pledges. I'd like to pledge you $1 million a year over a 5-year term or something. That needs to be something like that. In my opinion.
If they start winning, it's kind of like, because Clemson wasn't getting crap 10 years ago, and all of a sudden they start winning, and now they're putting a little bit of money in. That was a sleepy little town in South Cackalack in the mountains. Now. I don't know. I think once that if the W's start coming, and West Virginia's on everybody's in the conversation, they're top 25. Things can change quickly, just for the better or for the worse. So it could also he could crap the bed and be 3-8 again, and we'll definitely be talking about it.
Hey, listen, my camera's not worth a crap. Let me show you something.
Metro News said Rich met with the team immediately, maybe because they leave Saturday. Yeah, they leave Saturday.
These are the pictures behind me. There's that one, right? You see it?
Oh yeah, that's a nice picture.
Okay, and then I've got. I can't hang on my cup right now.
So the players leave for the bowl on Saturday for the little bowl holiday. Oh, that's a good one.
So that's the pictures that are on the wall behind me. I'm Mountaineer, man.
You are.
We want to win some games, but we want to mostly be back in the top 25. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited about Mountaineer football again for first time in a very long time. I like Neil Brown. Thought Neil Brown was great, but my goodness gracious, we got to win on Saturdays, guys. And Rich Rod's a proven winner. Rich Rod's a proven winner, and you can say what you want to about the way he left. Like I said, I feel like as soon as he signed that paperwork, he knew he made a mistake. Right. And has been trying ever since to get back here. Welcome home, Rich Rodriguez.
And what would I want to be somber, but I want to remember Chris. What would Golden Blue do? Would he be freaking the hell out right now? Wouldn't he?
Oh my gosh, yeah. He would be here's the thing about it. He was a lot like us, though, when he passed away. He was like a never Rich Rod again. He was happy. He would like to have Rich Rod back, but at the same time, he didn't know if he would want Rich Rod back. Does that make sense? But by now, yes, he would have been right on the Rich Rod train. He would be so ecstatic and so excited and looking forward to the glory days because he talked about it all the time. He talked about the 2017. So, yes, this would be exciting. Now, he was not happy with Rich Rod the way he left. But, gosh, Chris, such an amazing guy. Rest in peace, Golden Blue Dude, exactly, because Golden Blue Dude was one fantastic guy, a great friend of mine, great friend of the show, and I miss that guy every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, guys. This is all relative. I mean, the sun's going to come up. The stars are going to come out if it's not cloudy. Santa's going to come if you're good. And Rich Rod is going to win some ball games if he can get some butts in the seats, get some dollars in the purses. And if he can also, if he can get us in the top 10, and a big bowl.
Hey, I'm happy with top 25 right now. I'm telling you, just sometime this season, I want to be back in the top 25. It's been 6 years. Come on, let's get back there sometime this year. I don't care. Listen, here's how I feel about it. Let's start out 7-0 or something and get ourselves in the top 25 at like 17 or 18. If we lose 4 or 5 games after that, 3 or 4 games after that, okay. I just want to hit the top 25 because it's a goal. It's a goal, right? I just want to be there. If it's 25th in the country, we're back in the top 25, even if it's for a split second. Before Neil Brown arrived, West Virginia has spent 19 out of 20 years in the top 25.
Yeah.
And we've not been in the top 25 for 6 years. That's got to be goal number one. Top 25.
Right. I'll tell you, that's exactly right. Joey, I want to thank you again for coming on. This is a Thursday earlier edition. Usually we go a little bit later, but guys, I want to thank Joey. Guys, if you like this type of content, then you can hit us up every Tuesday, 8 o'clock, rain or shine. I'm here. And on Wednesdays, you can watch Frank Fear and Coach Chris. And guys, Frank is like the encyclopedia of West Virginia Mountaineer knowledge, from basketball to football. He's able to speak to it all. So, I love seeing y'all here in the chat. We have our regulars. I really appreciate all the times you've joined us. And once again, I'm just a super fan. And at the end of the day, I just want the Mountaineers to be successful, and butts to be in the seats, pepperoni rolls in your belly. And guys, thanks again, and have a great, great day.